Okay. You guys have just finished the ambush combat with the Initeki who were on their way to the Bronze Nilbog for what they knew as their noon meeting and what you guys lucked into remembering and returning in time to hopefully interfere with. Um, you are currently at the behest of Kikatrix, all engaged in helping to drag these lizard folk and the hulking dragonborn body back to the Bronze Nilbog for perhaps some questionable butchery. Um, what are you guys talking about during the body dragging?
Midian is has a hand on the heaviest dragon, but he's not actually pulling. And I'm like, oh God, I hate this so much. Why do you take the bodies of everything we kill?
For the skin boy. For the skin. We should go back to the ship and tell him we need some help to go clear out the barricades up there, though. Little, maybe fortify the inn. A little heavier. They're probably running out of supplies, but we can convince them otherwise to come in, if you know what I mean.
No, what do you mean?
We can make a little diversion. That way they have to come in and help.
Like drill a hole in the bottom of the boat?
Yeah, something along
Like a
those lines.
small hole
Like a small
Why would you
leak.
drill a hole in the bottom of the boat?
to force him to get off of it, Strana?
Yes.
Then we lose every possible resource that could be contained on the boat with the element of surprise. That could ruin everything.
How deep is the harbor?
You don't know.
I'll take my chances. I like those odds. Also, if it's a small hole, they could fix it, and then everything will get wet.
The
And they'd
boat,
be like, "We
the
need
boat
to
has anchored successfully, so what's the length of an anchor chain?
73
Actually,
meters."
hold on. I'm gonna Google that shit while you guys continue this because now I want to know.
I just told you,
700 feet.
73 meters.
Get the fuck out of here.
I made that up.
So, Strenny, do you want to go talk to them and have them come help?
I would rather talk to them than sink the boat.
Well,
All right, how about this,
The low
Stranu?
deep pipes and
If-
like I agree with that. Talk first.
How about this? If they say no again, we drill a tiny little hole in the bottom of the boat.
I'm of the mind that is most possible that they are going to have to. They're running out of resources and they can't stay on that boat and they can't even go back. Resources are here and still everything of the foundation of Eventide is here. It's just missing people. And one day we'll probably need blacksmiths, more food.
Yeah, but it's safe to
Um,
say that another boat's probably going to show up if we're the third one, right?
How long was between ships?
73 meters.
How long between the
Was
arrival
our-
of the ship?
He didn't specify.
Were we on sea for 3 months?
So about 3 months, I guess.
And another thing to consider, we successfully took out the Inoteki, but I of the mind as they'll probably come back with more once they realize that their fellow mates aren't coming back.
Maybe, or maybe they'll be little bitches and hide.
That'd
Maybe
be-
we should convince the captain to give us the resources to help
or we
fortify
should
the
convince the
inn
captain
so that
to
we
stop
have a
being
safe place.
bitch and come in and land.
I think our driving factor on convincing them, all jokes aside of drilling a hole in the ship, which I still might do, is that it's not safe on the ship. There's a man out there that can burn that ship down at any point in time. If we're all off the ship, that he has less of a reason to do that. We're more fortified. We're all together. We can defend easier. There's so many more benefits to defending off the ship than on the ship.
And the Inoteki can swim.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like fish in a barrel.
Not if
As soon as
Logie
the
keeps shooting
Inoteki-
chill bolts at him.
Not that part.
Swing and a miss.
I mean, that's
The
what they
ship is
are. They're
also
like,
the ship also remains a viable exit plan if all else fails.
especially if like we gather up enough resources with everyone and then decide to go somewhere else if need be.
We can travel elsewhere around this land. Just because this entry point is hostile does not mean they all are.
Yeah, if we could find like a little pocket somewhere to settle down, that'd be cool.
Intentional pocket reference?
Yeah, it was. It was, but it wasn't.
All right, so that's a long enough conversation to get us there.
I think that will suffice. A couple of points of clarification. The length between the actual expeditions that have come here is fucking significant.
Okay.
Like decades, actually. That's due more to like political and financing reasons more than anything else. You were all aware that the government of Bacalian is a corrupt and fucking horrid place. And these aren't put together too terribly often. Like, you've essentially escaped slum life to come here and try and do this kind of thing. So resupply, the idea of resupply from Matral in the form of another expedition probably wouldn't be very likely. You are one of multiple ships, however, various things happen to those other ships, including being destroyed, eaten by a fucking turtle, lost in a storm, and I think in the case of another, just out and out disappearing during a fog. So the fate of those other vessels is currently unknown. Which is to say, like, read into this is Paul's backup plan. If you guys totally shit the bed and everybody dies, we have another expedition ship that can land, and or they might actually be destroyed and gone. That would all be largely character knowledge from the long voyage, which was in fact about 3 months and ate a fuck ton of food and stores.
Ship shows up from the fog.
There's also somewhere in the vicinity like 350 people on that vessel, which is a lot of mouths to feed. Signing on with this, like, you guys knew that, like, you signed on essentially as like merchant adventurers, if you will. Think like French Foreign Legion kind of thing. But not everybody who signed up did that. A lot of these people are just like laymen or craftsmen or just out and out settlers. Like, we're talking farm hands and shit like that. So there is seeds of society on that vessel for fucking sure. Any questions regarding that? I feel like that's all largely common knowledge stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to fill in gaps in the conversation as I heard them. Cool.
That's
Everybody's
kind of what
happy?
I figured, yeah.
Everything else you guys said was all absolutely fucking legit. I have no issues with any of it. You could pull the fuck out of here and never come back, and we'll figure it out and play that. However, as you are dragging these bodies towards the Bronze Nilbog and you guys actually get closer to the waterfront, it feels as if a few of these questions have answered themselves, as it's difficult to not notice the fact that the oars are deployed out the side of the Teo Dormeo, and it is actually coming closer to the dock that you guys docked your tiny little dinghy at initially. In fact, as you watch, you see two other dinghies being lowered over the side and figures starting to swarm over and into the small boats. Anybody who would like to roll a perception check while looking at this is free to. Provided Roll20 is working cooperative.
Yeah, let's see here. This is my first dive into the character sheet.
Grim, as normal, rocking the perceptions. You see the long ships or the dinghies drop to the side, and two different teams start to clamber down two different ropes and start to row their way towards the beach. As you guys have experienced, about 5 or 6 people is about the max for one of these boats. So you're seeing two groups on the way over now as you drag the bodies up to the Bronze Nilbog. As you're like essentially approaching the front stairs, I am kind of envisioning you like walking up to basically like what would be the parking lot of this motherfucker and just like laying the bodies there. And then like turning around and like watching the boats row in.
Wait, hang on. How heavy is the Dragonborn body? Like, would I be able to manipulate it by myself? Not like, you know, throw it or anything. Just
What's
like
your strength?
pick it up, move it. 11.
Yeah. I think I'm
I
Brady
would say
and
between
Dragonborn.
220 and 320. I don't think you could do it by yourself
What
at
you need?
11.
I was gonna pretend to fight it on the dock while they.
I can hold it.
Yeah,
I can hold it
can
for
you
you.
can you stand behind it, hold it like a puppet, and make
Yeah.
me? And I want to like stab it in the head or something, like. And when they get here, and then be like, see, another easy victory, and I'll dust my shoulder off.
What's your actual strength?
My actual
He
strength,
rolls a strength save.
17.
You're okay. You could do it without a strength save. It's more of a question of like they weigh average like three,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
save.
280.
shit.
Yeah,
Right?
I know.
All
So
right.
like
Oh,
silly.
well,
a strength
that's
strength
not
of a
bad.
17 is fucking significant. You're cool on that. So you are essentially like holding it up against your body and like waving its arms around like it's trying to fight him.
And Grimm's
Idiot is
Grimm's
using
casting
it for hard.
that voice thing.
What are you doing to it, Midian?
I'm like struggling with it, like I'm making it seem like I'm overpowering him, and Kikatrix is playing along very well. And then he swipes at me, and I dodge it nimbly, and then I take my rapier out. I think I have a rapier or a dagger. I don't remember what it is. Fuck it, doesn't matter. And I stab it in its head, and I'm assuming they're pulling up the shore. I wanted to wait right until they were right there, And then I turn around and I kick its limp body over, and Kikatrix jumps out of the way like he was like almost hit by it, and I'm like, ha! Another easy victory, and I brush my shoulders off and turn around and go, ha, ha! Nice of you to join us, losers.
Kikadrix, do you play
Stranu
along
is-
with the scene?
Great kill.
What is Stranu doing?
So,
Johnny Waits is absolutely exasperated to be watching this, and as people come in earshot, just kind of
I can
roll the
describe how
eyes
I
and
hold the
throw-
body
and-
if you want.
throws a comment like something noble about desecrating a corpse,
Damn.
and then walks inside the no bug.
And
Can I describe how I hold it? How I hold it?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay.
Logie, did Logie doing anything while these boats approach and the two play foul puppeteers?
Yeah, so that's going on. Logie's just kind of making a quick glance back at the ship, making sure Captain Merle's not watching, and then I'm in association gonna awkwardly walk into the Nilbog.
Roll
Can they roll a
check, Norman.
perception? Can they roll a perception check to see like what they saw or like if they
I don't
actually
think
thought?
I don't think they need to.
Oh,
Logie,
they-
I'll take a perception check. But Logie, she is absolutely.
Holy shit!
Oh,
And you
Oh.
you and
It
you
was his
note
idea.
and you note that she is watching this from one of the approaching dinghies.
oh
Her
damn.
arms are crossed over her chest as she stands in the front of the boat. She steps off cleanly onto the dock as it swoops into to dock, I guess, as repetitive as that is. And you see that there are 4 other Marines in the boat with her. What you guys failed to perceive previously was the argument that was occurring between her and her second in command regarding who was going on to shore. Had you been successful, you would note that it was clearly Captain Miller, who smoothly steps off the dinghy onto the dock and doesn't sway or misstep at all as she walks down it towards the two of you playing puppeteer. Logie, you were out there too, or did you go back inside?
With me actually noticing Captain Merle, I kind of not go back in.
Okay. 2 of the Marines stay in the boat and immediately turn around and head back to the ship, and 2 of them move behind the captain towards dry land and essentially take up positions on either side of it. The other ship is docking as the first one leaves, and you can see that it has Tevor. The fuck is this guy's name? Paladin guy? Anybody remember?
I think it was
Cleric.
Yeah, he
Terrible.
knows
Oh.
Orcish.
Tovar?
Tova.
Trovar.
He knows Orcish a little bit.
Trovar.
Someone
that was it.
taught him a
Yeah, Trovar.
someone taught him a spell in Orcish,
Image,
so he's got to know something.
Redis persona.
I mean, I'm a fucking orc. Like, I don't know what
We're
you're
all aware. Trust me.
Yeah. He's actually saying this is like Captain Mallory's there. Like,
Yeah, that's actually like-
I'm a fucking orc. I don't know what you.
Yeah,
expect."
Trovar learned a spell, dude.
Why-
Like,
Quietly shakes her head.
I'm just saying, this is enough. This goes to show that it's safer than they imagine it would be. Because like, if we're just sitting here fucking around, like think about it though. Like, because this shows like, oh, you guys waited for so long, and look,
we're making a mockery of it.
Yeah, like that's how I'm approaching it. Like, oh, y'all could have been here a little sooner to play. Like,
yeah. And the few civilians that get off the boat behind Trovar are all kind of laughing and tittering a little bit. These are all people that you've seen as passengers on the boat, much like yourselves on the way over here, and they're all kind of, they're like you see they're bobbing one of their chins over at you, and they're all kind of like whispering behind their hands. Mixed group, men and women, dressed in like everyday kind of clothes. They clutch weapons uncertainly, but they seem to have determined faces, and your antics is definitely lightened the mood for them a little bit, the fear of coming over here. Trovar himself, however, looks incredibly disapproving of this, and comes to, you're right, it is, but it will also be your problem if you want to interact with them in the future. That's how this kind of works. You choose your friends and you choose your enemies, right? Mm-hmm. And playing with a body in front of a cleric is never really going to go over too terribly well, as we just saw with the paladin. That's just the game. I don't care what the fuck you do with it.
No, that's cool. That's how it works.
He doesn't approve, however. His single blue eye is narrowed. However, it switches as he kind of looks at the Nilbog and says, it is a nice place. Is this where the drinks are? And he steps forward like to go inside. The captain, however, is still standing at the end of the dock with her arms crossed, staring disapprovingly at the two of you. This is what you've been spending your time doing, is it?
Yeah,
killing overgrown lizards and having puppet shows.
I'm gonna I'll pipe in with a no thanks to you guys.
This one doesn't get a ride home. Wonderful. Makes the numbers easier to manage.
Drilling a hole in that fucking ship.
Then begins to walk into the Nilbog herself. The two Marines who stayed at the dock stay there. It appears as if that's what they're doing for now. And the other dinghy goes on back as the three civilians follow Trevor inside the Bronze Nilbog. Those outside the Bronze Nilbog, what are you doing?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do they have knowledge at all of the Inteki?
I feel like the captain would know.
I don't think that this is necessarily something that you would ask the DM. This is more of a question that you would inquire of an NPC yet.
Oh, okay.
So are you questioning an NPC?
Yes.
Which NPC?
The guard on the left.
Okay. He is standing in the traditional Mitralian military or marine uniform, which is light blue with buttons up both sides. He has a cutlass, which is essentially a wider blade scimitar on one hip and a long dagger on the other. He's got both of his thumbs in his belt and kind of smiles and like gives you the upward chin toss as you approach him.
You boys know, do you know anything about these guys? Do you know anything about these little Initekis? Have you encountered them before?
He like leans to the side, like look past you at the bodies on the ground, like turns his head and spits, says, "Looks like a big lizard to me." Initeki, you called it? Is that what the lizard's called?
Yes, that's what the lizard's called. I just wanted to give you the quick heads up. They swim.
Big ugly bastard.
They
swim.
swim really well, so watch your back. Just don't watch forward.
Good to know. He actually like looks at you consideringly and a doze, and then like kind of turns around, not like 180, but no, like actually turns and starts looking out over the shore and the water, like between where they're at and the boat. He, as a Marine, understands the importance of enemies who can swim.
So you now have one facing the Nilbog and one facing the water?
Correct.
That's it. That's all I wanted to do. See you later, bud.
Hey, thanks for the tip, man.
And then I wiggle my hand at him in some weird gesture, like it means something.
His eyebrows kind of come down a little bit in confusion, and he turns back to.
And I turn and walk away.
He lets you. Midian, you see the two guards like glance at each other like over their shoulders. Like one of them just kind of shrugs and shakes his head a little bit and turns back, continues watching. Is Midian doing everything? Anything rather?
I'm just gonna walk back to the Nilbog. I have nothing to say to these fools, these cowards.
Is everybody inside the Nilbog now?
I believe so, yes.
I'm
Hold
standing
on.
at the door.
Logie. Was Logie still outside?
Yeah.
He went inside when he saw the captain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Logie greets Tofar and Captain Merle as they walk in.
They actually both give you a nice little like smile and a nod and have quiet conversation with you as you all go in.
I stand in the back of the room like the quiet kid in the auditorium.
And we're all thankful for
The kid with the gun in the auditorium.
it.
Pretty much.
You're like, all right. So we are now back inside the Nilbog. Hold on, I gotta put my brain on for this.
I feel like Strany's gonna run in and
Yeah,
give
the
Finkel a big hug.
there, because I'm down to 6 HP.
Hagen is dead. The cleric is there.
Didn't we sleep? Didn't your shit goes up when we sleep?
No. You guys slept and then had a combat wherein she got the shit knocked out of her.
Okay. I'm down to
But
2
I-
HP, so we could all find somebody if you want.
2 HP, get the fuck out of
You
here.
get the creepy cleric. You get the tummy toucher.
Are we really down to 2?
Oh, you do get the
No,
tummy
I'm
touch.
down to. I'm supposed to be at 19, but I'm at 17. I just
I'm gonna go up.
myself.
I'm gonna go up to Killian's room and see if she needs any healing. That sexual healing.
Killian is downstairs.
All right, I'm
You
gonna
guys
go.
come in. She looks bored and annoyed as fuck. Murph is in there. He
Just-
appears to be quietly drunk. Like he's
Good
just
for
got he's just like leaning forward in a little chair, and he's got his legs up on the table, which is a ridiculous thing.
Yeah,
He's essentially
upside down. Yeah.
And he's got like a cup between his balance between his legs, and he's got his face in it. He's found a straw from somewhere. He's just blowing bubbles.
It's the piece of hay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's what Murph's up
It's a
to.
great image.
Killian is pissed off, and Henry the Kettle is behind the bar in Haken's apron with a saute pan in hand as everyone comes in, and he blushes. Killian turns around and looks at all of you and says, "It's about damn time." I don't have a good voice for her, and I don't feel like doing it. So.
And I'm just gonna say, I missed you.
Ugh. she does like the lip curl like into the nose, you know,
Yeah,
like
I'll get her. Don't worry.
yeah. Ugh. He's black. He's black. You're a drow. It's not my fault. You made these choices.
Okay, Claire, you have anything to add?
Yeah, Claire. you got something to say?
Come at me. I dare you.
John,
That's
you
fine.
there's no reason to do anything really to piss off Killian.
It's fair. She
It
is a woman.
seems that when they're he started to not mind these boys so much until this last battle where one of them just essentially hid in an alleyway and wasted a fuck ton of arrows.
To be fair, that was all 3 of them.
Wasted.
Yeah, I know.
Minus the arrow thing.
Wasted arrows.
What
Yeah.
damage I did to that guy?
Not wearing fucking chainmail. You crazy? But-
Yeah, it's cool. I'm gonna let you guys go the path of having one actual physical encounter individual, and the rest trying to do range, and we'll see how all that plays out in the long run. But that's up to you guys. I don't care either way. Finkel,
Yeah, I
however,
think-
is there, and Finkel perks up like a little doggy when you come in, sees what's going on, and immediately begins to pull beers out of one of the casks for everyone. As seeming to understand the mood in the room, Trevor, cleric, bro.
Yeah.
Like bodily literally drags one of the tables into the middle of the room, uncaring of the things that are spilling and falling off. Predominantly dirty dishes from y'all's breakfast this morning. Haken also was good for doing the dishes. Now he's dead. He has no dishwasher, no doctor, no fighter, no philanthropist, no chef. Y'all are really kind of fucked in this whole Eventide, huh? Should have kept Haken alive. It's dumb. But now there's a table in the middle of the room, and Captain Meller goes to stand at the head of it, and the cleric Trevelochlin stands to her left, and she kind of stands there waiting until everybody's almost like by weird force of will has moved towards or picked up and placed a chair at the big central table. And that's where we're at. I have to pee desperately. Can you guys give me a quick couple of minutes here?
We don't have a choice.
You really don't. I'll be back.
I keep looking over at Killian, just like giving her like the eyebrows up, like, what's up? What are you doing? What are you doing over there?
I was thinking about casting Lay on Hands, but then the cleric appeared, so I'm just gonna kind of wait patiently, and then before anyone departs, I'm like, hey, so
Just don't let Henry touch it. He's a fucking creep.
Yeah, Logi's just really creeped out by Henry.
Henry is just like, he's genuine, I think, but like genuinely disturbing.
He's just a very unsettling human being, and just being in general.
But nice enough.
But no, but, like, when Paul gets back, like, since the table's in the middle, and like, I'm just gonna start moving fucking chairs there.
I'm gonna move mine
What's
far
his
away from Henry's.
class?
Whose?
Henry?
Henry the Kettle?
He's a cleric.
Oh, is he?
You don't remember the weird healing scene?
No.
Forget which episode it was, but he like
I wish I could forget.
he like walked up to Grim, I think, and like slowly touched him and said like, and like quiet like walked backwards and like kind of put his like fingers together and like touched them like again and again and again, and was just saying like really weird about it. Like I think he might have even like giggled quietly like like it was fucking
Oh, man.
it was
Now
one
I,
of
like,
yeah.
Now I have this thing in my head where they like come inside, and Strahd was obviously, because I think he got like they bit the shit out of him if I recall correctly, so he's got to be like bleeding.
I
Bit
imagine,
the shit out of him. So like he's got to have at least like a bleeding wound. And now it's in my head that like Henry kind of like perks and like approaches to heal him, and Strahd just like awkwardly clears his throat and like kind of shuffles closer to the other cleric.
Yeah, but I
no, thank
if you weren't there for that, we would have had to relay that to you in character. So you wouldn't really know that if you weren't there for it.
It would be bad timing if any of us did that.
Because I think that was like, I think you were gone for that one. I think you were sleeping upstairs or something. Yeah, I don't want to hurt. I don't want to upset his feelings. He might like commit seppuku or something. The weirdo.
I don't know. It's either that he might like rage out and he is creepy. He is silent. Silent type. Man.
He just like watches you while you're sleeping from the doorway. Unfettered.
That's unsettling even more.
I
Even for Logie, because he probably did that to Logie one time.
Yeah, right.
Logie had
that
no
night,
idea.
the night after he healed you, he just like quietly watched you from the doorway.
Just like heavily breathing.
Yeah, he's like,
Just
I see.
watching over you.
Snore.
Quote
Is this a
unquote.
Henry the Kettle?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I noticed you snore a lot in your sleep.
I have
No, I
learned
kinda-
new joy from dungeon mastering this version, and discovered skills that I wasn't aware that I had, which is to apparently invoke serious feelings of creepiness.
Yeah, dude, that was great.
And this is a wonderful new skill set that I look forward to enjoying. So I'm sorry for that for you guys.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed it as well.
Well, I've also just remembered that Strahd knew something bit the shit out of him and he took a shit ton of damage. So he's got to be standing there with like an open bleeding wound.
Henry the Kettle immediately comes over, and he's got, I think I've described him before, he's got these long creepy, long, skinny fingers,
Like
spider legs.
salad fingers.
And they
Investy
no,
spoons.
oh god. And his fingers kind of dance over you, and he says, "I think I can help you with that." And he like brings his one of his hands back and starts like chewing his thumb and looking at you.
My mouth is just slowly opening, like very slowly. I'm just like eyes wide, just.
His other hand reaches towards the open wound, and like obviously he wants to kind of stroke it a little bit. Do you let him?
Do it.
I'm very uncomfortable, but I'm also in a lot of pain, so I'm just gonna kind of like
Getting to smell a lot like almonds.
Like brows knitted together, like my like you kind of like clench my jaw and like in that way that we're like
Just
you're
nod
obviously
once.
uncomfortable but don't know what to do and just
The
kind
single
of, like,
nod with
like,
the tight jaw.
yeah this is happening.
He strokes your wound.
Strokes your.
Awesome.
Strokes
Strokes it.
Yeah.
Oh hey okay.
And it closes up a little bit, like not all the way. Like you still got a pretty hardy gash, but like it scabs over, but it's a fucking gnarly ass scab.
Fair, but it's what it did 6 healing. I was at
He
6
bites
out
his
of 14,
bites his
so.
bottom lip and makes eye contact with his watery blue eyes. Says, "I did what I could," and then he like slowly sachets backward in Hakon's apron behind the bar again.
Yeah,
As
sure,
Finkel
you just-
comes over and like kind of gives you a look and hands you a beer, and then wanders off to give everybody else a beer.
Yeah,
Like-
Shani is definitely just gonna croak like a thanks, like with a question mark, and and then just share like a look with Fink of just like
He loudly
Pure-
whispers that.
You're welcome.
It's like
yeah,
Loki's
just a look
movie.
with Finkel is you're just like what okay.
All right, bud.
Okay.
He's just gonna take his beer and take his
Thanks, dude. See ya.
You like I imagine you
Pretty
like
much.
pouring the top layer off in case it was spiked with something. Like you're like, I don't know.
Finkel poured him.
Oh yeah,
No,
okay,
Finkel
fair.
brought
That's
it
fair.
for me.
That's
I
fair. Yeah,
trust
I
him
forgot. Yeah.
implicitly.
Yeah, it was a Finkel beer. No
Yeah,
roofie
true, my
up.
sweet
I
baby.
mean,
Is anybody else concerned that Orin's here in the room with us? Like,
You noticed that? I'm like, why is it next to me?
Wait, is he? Where?
I think he just was never removed from the last time.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like, what?
that is correct.
I was like, well, there's Midian.
Hey, Pikatrix is still in his creepy corner.
Yeah.
Smells
Okay.
The image was so small, I just assumed that it was representing the folks from the boat.
No, the name on him is wrong too. Well, it's not wrong. It's just spoilery. Whatever.
Why is the name listed for me and Murph? Nobody else has a name. My map only has a name under Stranu and just Murph.
Weird. I
But-
see everybody
Yeah.
except poor Henry.
Who's
Why?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm filling up my water bottle. Sorry.
You should see everybody now.
I see everybody.
I see everybody. I just don't see names.
Not that it matters. This is more of a
Yeah.
theater of mind meeting. Okay. Thank you for the quick break there. Captain Miller herself has come ashore with the intent of finding out what the fuck is happening here. And as she stands at the head of the table and Finkel delivers you all the beers, she stands there with her beer up as if to make a toast and waits for all of you. Do you join her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Where's my glass?
I only lift it to like a 45-degree angle though, instead of like a full extend. You know what I mean? Like I just pick it like up and like nod my head down a little bit, and like because you know I'm a skin collector, so I've come across
Oh.
a good bounty. So like I'm in on the inside, I feel great in this cheer. Like.
And this is when I burn Nilbog down. This is-
Just make sure he's inside.
She raises her glass and says, "A safe voyage, at the very least," and takes a drink.
I slammed the whole beer.
It's cool. She takes one drink and then another drink and then a third longer drink, and puts her glass down. Smacks her lips. Clearly a satisfactory beer, which is strange because Orn did the same thing. So apparently, whenever the beer is here, it's good. All right, let me find my notes here. So, I've come to shore here because we need to make some progress. We have little food. We cannot make the voyage again. I'm beginning to have discipline issues on the ship with the other settlers. They're impatient to come ashore, and despite the fact that I've told them it's not safe, I don't think that there's much that I can do to hold them back without bloodshed anymore. So, what I'm doing this afternoon is those who want to come ashore are coming ashore. Sergeant Mack is currently on the boat himself, and that is where he will stay for the knots while I sort things out here. But there are a few things that we need. Everybody with me so far?
Yes, Captain.
Logie nods, yes.
We need food. Not just for the people who are going to stay here, but we need food so I can get back safely and bring help again. We need lodging for those who are inside. From what you've told me in the last 24 hours, this is not a safe place, and we need to do what we can to make it so. There's not much I can do about that. It's not my purview, you understand. I am here to get you here, and that's what I've done. Coming ashore today is extra because I can't do the rest of my job with all these people on my boat. I need them off. They need a place to stay safely. She glances around the Nilbog. Well, this is a lovely tavern. It will not suit 200 to 300 people. I'm sure you can understand that. Have you seen anywhere that can? She looks around at all of you. Have you found food anywhere for all of these people? Is there time enough to plant here? Do we have any of that information? Furthermore, why is it not safe here? I've heard reports of different creatures. She looks over at Logie's. I've heard reports of a consortium, some kind of trade guild active here. I've heard lizardmen, some kind of Inateki. The situation is precarious at best, and we need to figure out what the fuck is going on here, frankly. Can you shed any light on any of these issues for me? She sits down. She takes her beer to hand. She takes a drink, and she looks at all of you expectantly.
I'm going to keep my mouth shut for now and listen.
There seems to be a town. Cicatrice says from the back. There seems to be a town northwest of here, barricaded off. We haven't got to investigate because we've been quite busy, as you can tell.
By town, do you mean the plateau up the stairs?
Up.
Talking about the rich houses.
Okay, still part of Eventide. It's not a new or separate town. It is still all part of the same town. Essentially, it's just up on the plateau.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying. Northwest is like
That's accurate.
general direction.
She nods as if to indicate that she's heard you.
Then I just like put my head back down and just like slowly whittle with my fingers.
There were houses up the cliff, just beyond the back wall of the Nilbog. However, we have not yet had time to explore and see whether or not it is safe or full of anything else that may just attack at a moment's notice.
She nods consideringly.
I'm trying to remember if we've really been anywhere or learned anything that would teach us anything about harvest or length of seasons or weather
There
patterns.
is a field just north of the little town with one house. We haven't got to explore yet. But
Do you speak of the Leggett?
yeah,
What?
we thought that little house was the Leggett house.
I just moved y'all's map here real fast so you can see what you've seen
yeah.
of the actual city.
Oh, okay, yeah. Isn't that little house up there the Leggett house?
Leggett House
Yeah.
is down
Far?
here,
Oh.
bottom left.
You might have just ruined that for us.
Yeah,
We were under the impression that it was that tower where R is.
No, I think that I'm glad to have ruined it. You guys would have been able to see well enough when you got to the top of the staircase that there was a tower to the north, and that there were some larger houses and the gated off property to the south.
We missed all
That's
of
an
that.
important clarification. And where you guys got to was realistically like the crossroads
right,
here.
yeah,
So
that
you would have been able to like look up the hill this way and see a tower, and look down the road here. It's theater of the mind kind of thing. The road is a little bit more straight in the scene that we essentially played out, and you could see a big gate essentially down at the end of this road.
Got it.
So I guess two possible locations, one with a number of two-story buildings that were in fact described as like, I don't want to say mansions, but like nicer nobility housing, if you will.
Yeah, there's also 10 houses in our general vicinity. I mean, 10 buildings. They might be storage sheds and whatnot. I'm not 100% sure.
Some are warehouses. You passed some of this when you went to the dockside, and you saw that like one of them was a shipbuilding warehouse. One of them was an actual what appeared to be like a dry goods warehouse. There was another that appeared to be like a counting house, like
A bank?
like a harbor master kind of thing. We didn't really get super specific onto it. This is more
Just as far as general lodging for people, like a safe place with a roof that they can put their head down, maybe.
bingo. Like a couple of warehouses would be fine for the short term. Realistically, what she's after here is we got a bunch of fucking people on the boat. We need to get off the boat. We need to put them somewhere they can sleep, somewhere that's safe, and we need to make sure that they have food for that.
Right.
She's also inquiring regarding oppositional forces, Op 4, if you will. What are we facing here? How do we solve it? Do you have information regarding that? That's what she's after here.
I know what she's after. I'm being quiet. I don't generally like her. She's kind of snippy.
That's fair. She is kind of snippy.
I like her.
Then you talk to her.
But you have more information than I do.
You know everything I know.
Yeah, can someone tell her about
You can.
the Leggett? Okay, I'll go ahead. I mean, we've heard of, as I sit up and look up at, we've heard of the Leggett. He's a mercenary, right?
He's like the mayor.
Of this
If
poopy town.
like Metralian society, which you guys are from, so this would be known, is that the like governor of each city is essentially retired military. Like not to go this far, but like, have you seen Starship Troopers?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. Citizenship, like service gets citizenship kind of thing. Like kind of an idea like that behind the Metralian military.
He's doing his
Like
part.
this is a retired successful military man who now governs like a foreign
What's the word for
city.
it?
Or what? I'm sorry.
For him, what would it be called? What would it?
He's the legate. That's what it is.
Okay, cool.
That's like the title. Like
All right, so he, so we found we know of a legate that is residing around here. He must have something established. He going on up there. So, you can talk to him, being that he's ex-military and all that standings. I don't know how you want to go about it, but that would probably be the most successful way to keep everybody housed and fed.
you know he's there.
Very
We
sure
have heard word from, and he kind of eyeballs Midian, a rather unsavory source, but had hopes to secure a bit more help and a few more resources to explore, to go speak to him, so that we could hopefully get a bit more information on where the people of this city have disappeared to. We are attacked around almost every corner, and barring any of that, at the very least, find out a bit of information on local flora, fauna, growing seasons, growing patterns, anything that would be helpful in establishing a safe location for all of these folk to disembark your ship.
She nods. And let's see here. She nods. She seems satisfied with that answer. Okay, so it seems then that the first steps will be contacting this legate if we can. I'm going to ask all of you to do that. I'm going to supervise the offloading of the initial wave of passengers, those with martial skill, mind you, who have a chance of holding this beachhead, because that is what it is. And we will begin to try to expand into the waterfront. Thevlor, cleric guy, as she names him, he nods his head. No, the cleric guy who... Cleric, yeah, I'm sorry. Who took care of Haken's body and came over from the Theodor Mail with the civilians. Kind of nods his head as he's named. Says has volunteered to take a party and go explore the waterfront a bit, and aim to check the various warehouses there in hopes of finding something that we can use. So I'm to take it that your plan is to visit the legate or find him if possible.
Amongst other things.
That was we had set out on a scouting mission just this morning to do that, and recognized that if we were to make it back to the Nilbog in time to hopefully have this meeting with your fine selves, we would have to turn around and return to base.
Her brow furrows slightly in confusion at your words. I had only decided to come across maybe 20 minutes ago. This meeting wasn't determined.
It was my understanding that Logie and Kikatrix had hopefully made a successful plea to a cleric man whose name we all keep forgetting, and and we decided to come back in hopes that he would see it fit within his heart to give us a hand.
Ideal timing then. Cleric guy kind of laughs a little bit. Shrugs. Get my accent on this motherfucker, he says, and he throws up fucking West Side Gang signs.
So bad that we all keep forgetting his name.
West Side. It's actually in the fucking Discord. I've looked at it. There's a picture with him and everything. I asked Eric twice what the fuck his name was. Trovar.
Yeah.
Trovar is his name.
I looked to Trovar since he's banding a party to explore the shoreline. I relayed to him the possible opposition, if any, would be the possible Inoteki still roaming around, along with the Kenku, and would it be possible to do a history check, because I don't remember the technical term of the fishmen?
No, the fishmen of the Kuotawa. I don't know if any of you would necessarily know that they were called that. Little fish folk would probably be.
I think Oren might have mentioned them.
He actually did mention him by name, now that you say. He nods and thanks. We'll keep an eye out. Thank you, Logie. And by that, I mean what he really says is, yo, it's cool, I'm strapped, dude. Sorry.
Hey, DM's gotta have fun sometimes too, right?
He nods in an incredibly sophisticated way and says, "Thank you for the heads up, Loki."
It's
cool. I've got my 9.
About to end the conversation, but he's before I forget, the Kenku, the bird folk, they're very territorial. Although they do like shiny things. That might help.
Are they tasty?
I bet they are.
If you
I'm
have
gonna
to add
slowly
man-
just kind of turn and
He
look
said,
at
"Fuck them
Cicatrix.
birds."
I bet they are.
I'm just assuming if he's willing to skin them, he's also willing to eat them.
Where's the line? It's a humanoid bird. Look, we pluck it. We pluck it. Let's not get too serious about this.
So is
Idiot.
boil it. Don't forget.
I'm not skinning it. It's an anthropomorphized chicken.
He skinned an anthropomorphized lizard. He didn't fucking have any qualms about that.
I have no issue with that either. Shit is iguana.
Yeah,
It's
you can
alligator.
eat.
Get out.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the. I just assumed that if Cicatrix is willing to, skin
I
them,
would
we
make
might as well.
no
I'm
eat them.
literally a
assumptions about
skin-
Cicatrix's
I am a
ability.
skin collector.
I
That is-
literally-
like I grew up a skin collector. Like it was all
Alright,
one big
Buffalo
scheme.
Bill, what the
Like-
fuck?
Yeah. Do you
No,
put the lotion on their
no,
skin first? You
I'm a-
fucking weirdo.
No, I'm a fucking like a beastmaster, pretty much. Like I like to.
It's
I
the lotion
conquer,
in the basket.
like I conquer and I fucking make like suits and shit. You know, everything's connected to the grand fucking cosmic plan.
Yeah.
So you're
Skin
telling me you're
suits.
not Buffalo Bill
Skin
after
suits.
That's the
telling
weirdest
me that
fashion
you're
show.
making skin suits.
My takeaway there was, in fact, skin suits.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was actually
yeah.
thinking about that, and I wanted to make a. But that's another question for another.
He
time.
just has a Halloween costume store. That's it. Like.
Yeah, that's. Oof.
I just want to make a mask. You know, how long would a mask take to make, like, of the Dragonborn?
73 days.
Is
'Cause
this
I'll talk shoot.
is that a serious inquiry out of nowhere?
Yeah, no, he's dead. He's
Yeah, no,
he's
Blindsided shit
dead
out of me.
serious. He's gonna wear a Dragonborn skin and fight the Inateki and rally them to join us.
No,
You should though. It's actually worth trying. You know, they're dumb.
Yeah, what's your charisma?
Not good.
What?
He's
I don't need
ugly.
charisma.
He's a half
Gotta
orc. He's
require a disguise kit in some
but I
fashion.
am a leather master, so that should help on the time making.
You were a
You're
leather worker.
Yeah, I love that he like again. We've had this discussion.
You are level
We
2.
are plebs, dude. You might have dabbled in leatherworking, but you are no
He's
master.
like the level 9 with the twink stuff, and it's just
I have a 4 on it. What the fuck
master,
that means?
master leather worker.
Pro level 4.
Pro level 4? No, 4 is your modifier on it.
Oh, okay. So that would have made a pretty badass mask right there. You know,
I don't know.
it might have a couple things in it. I'm not too worried about that.
We're going to cross this bridge as a result of several checks if that's in fact what you want to do, and it's got to start with how well you do at the butchery of those things, and you need time to do that.
We'll go over that. I will write a description on how I butcher it. Don't worry.
I don't
Then
want a description.
this
I want
needs to be
successive
done
dice
on
rolls.
recording. Yeah, this needs to be done on recording. That cannot
No, I don't want any of this.
be. No, it needs to be documented for science.
No, I don't want it. Okay. All right. You guys are having a meeting with Captain Miller. She's outlined things that you guys essentially need or should hope to be able to find, which is food, housing, and security, essentially. Information on the oppositional force is ideal. You guys have run into a couple of different factions here within the city. She'd like a better picture of what's going on. The legate sounds good to her. She would like you guys to fucking figure that shit out and report back. In the meantime, essentially what's going to happen is that they're going to start landing small portions of the crew upon the Teodor Mayo right now. She mentioned that they're going to start with those who are more martially motivated, i.e. people who can hold a spear and maybe have a hope of defending a bridgehead, rather. Fucking Jesus. I cannot remember this cunt's name.
Thorvar.
Trovar. thank
Trovar.
you, is going to take a small group of combined Marines and civilians along the waterfront in hopes of searching the warehouses for useful items in regards to food and housing. Clarifications, questions, further comments on that shit.
Negative.
Seems like a solid plan.
Glad they're doing something.
Are you
Mm.
doing something? I mean,
I said I'm glad they are. Instead of being little chickens on a boat.
realistically, you guys have been there for 24 hours and arrived into a ghost city.
Yeah. And had 3-4 big battles in a day. Would have been nice with 200 to 300 people.
Big battles.
Listen, if we had 200 to 300 people, they
No,
wouldn't have been as big
I
as they were.
understand. You haven't been challenged enough. That's cool. I hear you.
Okay, cool.
I hear you.
Well,
No, that is not what he said.
Bring me more cloaca quivers for my arrows.
Loki's holding his God, no.
God, no.
You just see me like, Finkel, another one.
Stab me in my chest again, motherfucker. I dare you. Okay.
Now, did Trovar leave already?
Nope, Tripler's still sitting there. You guys still have the opportunity to continue this conversation as necessary. We're going to keep this rolling for another couple of minutes. It'll be... Yeah, and then we'll do a smoke break. Okay. Real fast, Eric, I know you have some follow-up questions.
It's not all that important. It was just more of a side thing because Trovar and I talk from time to time with books, and his he writes from time to time.
Trovar's a nerd, heard?
Yep. So I'm asking him
Yo, dog, I told you not to talk to me about that book shit when there's other people around, man.
Eyes off Achilles.
I know it's a bad time. I was just wondering if you've been writing, working on anything. I haven't had much to read these days.
He actually looks at you seriously because he doesn't talk like that, even though I'm really starting to like the idea, which is the whiskey's talking. Actually, I recently finished a volume I think you'd be quite interested in, Logie. I did not bring it with me on this, but I will, when I bring my sea trunk across, I have a few for you.
Logie brightens up and, shows his excitement to read.
Captain Valor looks over at this latest exchange and kind of raises an eyebrow, and fucking Trovar is like, "No, I don't read them fucking books, fool. You can definitely have them, man. I was just gonna, throw them at people or something. Shit. I got some books.
Working on
Trovar's totally not like that. I'm sorry. Yeah, Trovar's cool about it. He's a kind soul and a paladin, and he treated Hakon's body with fucking respect, and he's here to genuinely try and help things out, even though he did not sign on as a merchant adventurer. He came here to essentially find a nice picturesque landscape to sit and chill and fucking read and paint. However, he understands necessity. Very pragmatic guy, old Trovar. He definitely has some works to share with you. And asks you in return if you have found any interesting written documentation in this new place in your adventures thus far.
Yeah, I tell him, yesterday, after one of our fights with the Noteki, one of them had a journal. But haven't really had time to truly pick it, unless that was all that was in the journal that I did.
That's essentially the takeaway on it. I'm going to be real. I'm not quite at a time point where I can write a full Skyrim kind of thing, though I'd love to. So there's some pretty cool random tables out there I'll look into, but that the highlights were what I delivered essentially.
Gotcha. Then I tell him finish reading the journal, and I nod to him you like to read the journal?
A bit of local color? I'd love to read it, Logie. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes it from you and pulls out a oilcloth wrapping from one of his pouches and wraps it and puts it back in his bag. It pleases you to see him taking care of the book.
Yeah, Loki's happy. He's just excited to read and having a pleasant conversation, not so pleasant times. It's rare.
You don't like discussing kin acquisition and murder times with your party, Logie?
It's very new for me.
That's fair.
Very, very new.
You want a brand? I've heard that there's a guy here who will do it for you for free.
I will remind you that nothing in this life is free.
That is a
do.
good way of looking at that, my friend.
I do actually have a question for the captain.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm mostly curious if she brought enough people with her that are currently on shore. Is it just the four of them, like just the two guards and then the two in the bar?
Did
Well,
they come in? Did the civilians come in? If the civilians came into the bar, then realistically, yes. There were 12 people came over, 4 returned. Mostly
we're
is like
unaccounted
think oarsmen. No. Like they were taking the dinghies back to the boat to get more people.
No, I was really just thinking that perfectly happy to go track down the legate, but I feel that it would be easier if we took all 8 of the party, but I don't want to abandon the Nilbog. I want to have at least 2 people there.
We need more than 2 people to know.
Well, hear me out. If they're going to start exploring the beachhead, as it's put, we don't necessarily need to defend the Nilbog. I'm just thinking realistically, there's people on shore. If anything comes in a threat, they're not just going to burn down a vacant building for no reason out of spite. They might, but there should be more and more people
staying
showing up.
behind and starting, or is he going back to the boat getting things? Like, is everybody going back to the ship?
They're just going back to the ship, and they're bringing more people back as we go.
You're looking at realistically like 6 new people every 40 minutes.
So
20 minutes. Well,
It would be even less time than that.
it would be because it's not too terribly far off.
I just don't want to leave the base unprotected. Period.
No, we'll say we'll round it out to 10 people every half hour.
And then have them start putting fucking things up when they get up there.
Right. Now, keep in mind, not absolutely everybody's coming over. They're just bringing people who have essentially volunteers.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Put them to work.
Right.
Volunteer.
There is people coming over in a steady wave. You could elect to stay here for a certain degree of time, and more people would be here to essentially secure the space and the location. That's totally within the realm of doability. You guys could fuck off with the knowledge that there will be reinforcements here within 20 minutes, half an hour, realistically. These would all be calculations that you could have done internally based upon, like, watching them row back and everything else. So, who you guys decide to take with you is totally up to you. I would say that we all think about it real fast for a smoke break and try and be back by 9:55.
Okay.
How late are we playing tonight? Everybody got to work tomorrow?
I do, yeah. I have an early day.
We all working. I mean, me, yeah.
So then, do we...
I'm sorry. I've got a real long day tomorrow, unfortunately.
Do we maybe then want to call it?
Not really.
I mean, it's only 10 o'clock. Like, I got like another hour and a half.
Another hour. Like, I think this.
We might be able to
smoke
make a
break is perfect.
little bit more progress.
Yeah, like at least like finalize some more shit. That way, when we come back, we're ready to go. At least, you know what I mean?
That was kind of what I was thinking, is maybe like kind of keep with the RP of tying up all the loose ends and figuring out and formulating a plan.
There's also
And
no
then-
reason you have to go immediately. You could go the next day and you could spend some time doing shit
We
locally.
can rest up.
Right,
Fuck
and we
yeah,
can
I wanna
kind of
rest up.
we can handle that. Tommy's
Good
got
night's
some
sleep.
bodies to butcher. Logi's got
Yeah,
a
got
book
some
he'd
shit.
like to read.
So
we can
the
do.
captain made it seem very much like time is of the essence, and what the fuck have you been doing?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, in the back of your mind, it's also been fucking 24 hours, and you're on a hostile city. So
Can me and Logie start working on the forgery of the book?
we can hopefully discuss that when we come back from a cigarette.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let's take
I'm
a smoke break.
not against that, realistically.
I mean, if we're just killing time, like we can get it started, you know.
It is like time killing stuff. Yes. Yeah, let's go have a smoke break, and if we're just gonna do like quiet downtime stuff, right? We're not gonna leave with the aim of like getting things squared away, so the next session is going to the legates properly, right?
Yeah.
Because
We're gonna hold a white flag walking in because if he's military, man, he should understand.
I will also say, I know we
you can
usually
hold it.
talk
I'm not
about.
holding that shit.
I know we usually talk about next session at the end of this one. However, I have to close at work next Thursday, meaning next Wednesday night I do not have a bedtime. So if we wind up playing until midnight or whatever, that's actually I can do that.
So we want to shoot for next Wednesday, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Issue for anybody else off the bat?
Next Wednesday?
I think no.
27th, yeah.
27th. Yeah, I'm
my
just trying to say that if my ability to stay up much later that one time changes our plan for the rest of this session.
No, Wednesday the 27th should be fine tonight. Yeah, I should be home by 2.
That is, because, like, realistically, the Legate thing could be long.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I would think might take, like, 4 hours.
Depending on the things that you guys want to do there, it could, yeah. There's also some pretty gaping holes in the puzzle that you guys have here that could be answered there, depending on how you go about things. Not trying to foreshadow too much, but like it might be worth taking your time with that one and getting your ducks in a row here today. I think that's a good idea.
That's where I was at.
Okay, so tentative plan then, we're going to finish up odds and ends tonight, which means anybody who needs to be gone early should go first with their odds and ends. With a tentative plan of getting back together Wednesday the 27th. Everybody cool with that? Yeah. Eric, you alright with that?
Yeah.
Good.
I think Tommy acquiesced to that.
Yeah.
27th, 8:30.
Yeah. I just know Wednesdays can be kind of dicey with the group, but that is a really good night for me personally, and I can stay up later.
That's like what happens, because like I wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning most days.
Yeah.
So like by the end of the fucking day, I'm just like that's what ends up happening.
Okay. 9:55 back at 10 after smoke break.
Yep.
We'll do odds and ends, quiet episodes.
I have to work on the earlier side so that I could come home and take a nap and have time to like eat dinner and shit before it was time to play. Because if I didn't take a nap, I would be a dead man walking right now.
She's a real tough cookie with a long history.
I also usually am up at like 5 or 6 a.m., but I have one day next week where I don't have to work until 1 p.m., so I would happily stay up late because I get to sleep in. I don't even know if anyone's here.
I'm here. I think I want some pierogies. Oh, but I don't feel like cooking them. Fuck. Pretzels.
Yay. I can't find homie's name written.
It's Torvar. Yeah. No, who found that? Oh no. I'd hope no one would ever see those.
You got me with 5 minutes of quiet. Like, what's this button do? I did make an event for next session. It is linked in scheduling. If I recall correctly, if you have marked yourself as interested, it should, I believe Discord will send you a notification to remind you.
Really? I know you could do that.
I hit a bong. Quick announcement. I think that this is the last Dungeons and Dragons arc I'm going to run using 5th edition D&D. I'm not putting like a... It's not saying like, you have X amount of time to finish this campaign or anything like that, but like... I think...
No, he's going
What's
old.
that?
He wants... The next thing we do, he wants to go the old school route. I know it already.
Correct, yeah. I'm just... I don't like Wizards of the Coast as a company these days. That's a separate thing. More than that, though, this is... It's like Skyrim versus fucking Dark Souls. This isn't the version of D&D I want to play. This is like anime superhero fantasy with all the skills and shit like that. I want to play fucking desperate dungeon survival. Like, now that being said, it's not as bad as all that. You have hirelings and shit that you can shove in front of you for various purposes and stuff like that. And it's more encouraging of metagame stuff. Like, your character is an extension of you and how you problem solve. You don't have to put your problem solving into the box of what your character knows. That makes any sense at all?
I'd be interested to try it for
Play
sure.
like that on Roll20?
We won't actually use Roll20 for it. The character sheet is way smaller, way easier to deal with. All the skills that we see here, like, they aren't a part of the old school shit. Like, it is assumed that you're an adventurer and you have basic knowledge and, like, the ability to fucking swim and climb a steep slope. So, like, athletics is gone. All of these things that you would roll a skill check for, like in 5th edition, are instead time. And time matters because you only have light for a certain amount of time. You only have food for a certain amount of time. As time passes, monster-like rolls, random encounters occur. So, like, time is really the resource in these games. But the ability to problem solve is, I think, massively increased. The mechanics are less complicated when you get down to it. Yeah. People die a little bit faster, sure. Like, it's not as powerful as of a character, but, like, if you get a mage to level 8, you build yourself a magic tower and you get a bunch of apprentices. Like, a level 4 fighter can already have, like, a small stronghold and shit like that. It's... I don't know. We'll give it a go. So maybe I spoke too quick in that, like, I'll never run 5e again, but, like, the next thing that we play won't be 5e. Yeah. It'll still be in Kimbara, but it won't be 5th edition. Okay. Sorry, that was just casually on my mind. What are we doing? You guys essentially have the afternoon into Bronze Nilbog. I know Kikatrix has a bunch of bodies that he's probably interested in butchering. Pretty sure Logie has a book he's interested in.
Midian's interested in it too.
A book that he's interested in. Stranu? You got anything you want to get up to in the afternoon before the legates? Maybe you're focusing and, like, working on your level up kind of thing?
I'm gonna say, yeah, I do have, like, those new spells and stuff that he's gotta, I assume, like, learn.
You're studying, maybe, like, your more recent combats have reawakened old knowledge in you, and you're sitting and talking to Finkel and drinking beer.
If we go see this legate, are we still gonna disguise Stranu as a nobleman? Because I do have that.
He's not a nobleman. He's a retired
disguise you as a nobleman. No, you're not a nobleman.
I don't remember that.
Need to. She's a retired general.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's got like a signet ring.
Oh, I forgot. I didn't know I didn't know he had a signet ring. I didn't know that.
Yeah. She does. Yeah.
Would it be safe to say that the legate is? I mean, obviously he came from Mitral too, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we're not necessarily hostile right off the gate. Like, we don't know if he's corrupt and mad or anything like that yet. Obviously,
it would be a safer assumption that he is happy to see you versus the alternative.
That's what I'm getting. Okay, cool.
Like, you may very well be reinforcements in a beleaguered city.
Right. So don't just start setting shit on fire. Got it. Tommy puts his oil flask in ball bearings.
I was slightly confused by y'all's, like,
I had no intention on
skullduggery approach to
I guess
this. No, I was actually curious as to, like, what I had done to make you think that it was an adversarial situation.
It wasn't you. It was more getting the notes for Orin, basically, that I was thinking of a way to distract him. Like, maybe he could, like, Stranu could come in as, like, a higher up, outranking official and be like, at ease, I need your men outside. We need to have a meeting, and then I can do some skullduggery in his office. You know what I mean? Like,
fair.
No, the notes are in there though.
Not that house, another house.
There
It's
you
a
go.
random house.
Yeah, just a
Fucking
random,
house.
it's a random
Fucking
Richie
house.
Rich's house. Fuck this mansion in particular.
Then on fire.
you like knock first. Anyone in there? No response.
Taking all your
Burn
toilet
it down.
paper, burning down your house.
Did they have toilet paper? You think back then? In this
I
era?
mean, they gotta use something.
Do they?
right?
I mean, like I figure, like
Actually, leaves. Like no, they had to like have form.
I imagine.
Formatted
I
and
imagine
secure.
like
They got
a.
balcony and a nice slate roof. They got some toilet paper.
Yeah, but no, but maybe they just have like one common use cloth. You know, just hanging.
Washing that.
Yeah, every week.
Yeah, that's your punishment. Oh, dude, can you imagine using that cloth on day like 5?
On
Like-
fucking day 1 second would
Ugh.
suck. Like
Ugh.
none of it would be
Ugh.
good.
Second wife would just be so
Ugh.
You gotta be so
Can we
careful.
change the conversation? Can we change the
Yeah.
What do we want to start with your fuckers?
I want to get to going on these bodies.
Okay, Tommy wants to get to going on the bodies. That's a statement
So,
I prefer to not have to repeat a lot in my life.
All right, so I'm gonna obviously because everyone else is very feeble-minded.
No, I'm not feeble-minded. Speak for yourself.
I'm gonna take the Dragonborn up to a different room, you know, to have.
Do that shit outside, Midian
Do it
exclaims loudly.
inside.
Hang it outside. Bringing it upstairs to stink up where I sleep near. The fuck out of here with that shit.
It'll all be cleaned up.
Outside. Everyone else tell him outside right now and point.
Oh, that shed. I want to go to that shed.
There you go.
Yeah.
Go to the shed, you sick fuck.
I'm gonna go to the butcher shed. I'll be back.
Now it's a
And, so I go out back, right, and I hang this thing. I put a piece of wood going across the top in the middle of the shed. And I take the rope that I have out of my bag and I tie this thing up. I slice down the middle cavern of his chest,
past the
pulling
cloaca.
it apart, right, and you just hear.
You're blooding it. Hold on, my kid just started crying.
Sorry.
She's been very peaceful lately at night.
And then I look at the inside, see like, try to get a better understanding of like how they move and like what muscles are more well built to understand how they move a little bit.
Oh man, roll me a casual survival on that. Fuck, she's still crying.
What button is that? Survival. Yeah, I don't have shift that.
I'm sorry. Give me a nature. I misspoke on that. What was it? Sorry, I've got half an ear on a kid.
13.
You feel as if you understand that this is, well, Dragonborn. This is essentially another form of humanoid, and I don't know if you've butchered a humanoid before. You can tell me that, but you feel like the principles are not all that different.
He's a master leatherworker, of course he is.
And then I want to take it. He's right. He has claws.
Yes.
I want to take his little claws.
He also has horns and scales.
Yep. Okay. Let's peel off as much as we can. I'll. So what I'll do is I'll start at the neck. And,
How much time are you putting into this?
Well, this is the first time I've ever even seen something like this. So
How much time are you putting into this? Give me hours.
2.5 hours.
How long are you letting it bleed?
I mean, I thought it was dead already.
Still
It
full
is,
of blood.
but you hung it upside down and you cut its throat like you would a deer, right, to let it bleed out.
Yeah.
Am I understanding incorrectly?
I'm
Yeah.
impressed with your knowledge of field dressing. It's pretty cool.
Hold on, sorry.
No, you're good.
Realistically, the only reason to drain the blood isn't going to do anything as far as is
He is eating it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna eat it.
well,
I just
well.
wanna
Hear
eat
me
it.
out. Hear me out. We got two.
I mean, we could try.
We got
it.
200 to 300 people coming. They don't need to know it was attached to a dragonborn skeleton corpse. It very well could just be chunks of meat by the time you're done with it. You know what I'm saying? So would be funny.
But
Would be kind of funny.
I want to spend 2 hours of my night, like actually, like getting good pieces of chunks of like scales and grabbing the horns and getting his claws. Like, and I want to be slightly enjoying it with a little devilish grin on my face, just like
That's more than slightly.
It's always nice to find a new one.
You like it.
So that would be 10 claws.
Paul's dealing with a grandchild.
No, I'm more or less talking out.
With a grandchild?
Paul is dealing with a crying child.
Oh, crying. Okay. I was like, what?
And the best part is the Fae is like my most hated enemy, right? So I can so die, you imbecile bird!
Wait, are Dragonborn Fae?
No, the thing I sent you. Read like the bottom.
Oh, they're summoned as Fae. Yeah, gotcha.
Chicken, yeah. Yes, that's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna go back to that dude that was watching the boat, and I'm gonna talk to him and ask him to keep an ear open for whatever the hell that plant's called that the Brun wants.
Should have took better notes. Paul's gonna hold you accountable for that.
I think so. What do you mean I remembered about her? I'm still making her a fan. I'm just gonna use these Dragonborn claws and put them in the middle. I'm gonna draw it out. Even it's gonna be. Like, you know how the intake got like the little fanny things, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place them in the middle of that. Because is she like a tribe warrior princess dog?
I did not think that she is going to be very impressed by it.
I do. I really do.
All depends on how much you know and how good you are at it.
I mean, me personally can do
I watched my dad skin a deer and it took him 8 hours, and he was retarded about the whole thing.
Yeah. Realistically, regarding both field dressing and the breaking down of creatures, it would behoove you to keep in mind that not only did I grow up in Michigan deer country, but was a professional chef for almost 20 years.
Well, I mean, I was just a redneck for a while. So
I mean,
It's
you can hack
the
its
same
limbs off and
experience,
throw them
though.
on the floor. It's technically doing what you're doing.
You take a knife.
I don't want to get horrifically granular on all this either, to be completely honest with you here. So, No, I'm trying to come across like a decent way realistically to rule what you can get out of this and what you can use to craft as a result of that. So I suppose the way to do this would be for you to tell me what you're actually after here.
So,
Like claws, horns, cool. Totally get it. No problem.
so with the Azteci little fan piece that I have, I want to somehow sew the dragonborn claws, depending on how big it is. Let's say if it's...
I mean, you're a half orc, right?
Yeah.
Realistically, you're about of the size. The claws are maybe an inch.
Okay. Well,
Tooth.
we'll go
Think
over
like
this
think
later.
like shark's tooth.
Yeah, and the rest of them I wanted to add on to the top of my cleavers, like to maybe like put it into my cleavers, kind of deal. Like it's like a fucking edgy look, you know what I mean? Like I could draw
Like-
pictures and send them to you if you want, but like,
Just for aesthetics or for a mechanical purpose?
I mean, maybe like a special like. I'm not asking
All
for
right.
poison
If
damage.
it's,
or,
let me lay it down for you. If it's aesthetics, sure, cool, no problem. If it's a mechanical bonus you want, there's going to be essentially crafting checks behind it.
yeah, we could do that. That's cool. Graphic.
Again, you tell me what you want to do and I'll sort it out.
All right. Well, we can take care of that later because we're not even going to fight. So.
Yes, we can. You have time to blood these creatures now in a relatively cool place where they can do their thing. So they're essentially cool for today. But I would say that, like, dragging them all in here, getting them all prepped for this, making the cuts that you need to for, 4 or 5 bodies, realistically.
I was just doing the Dragonborn because I wasn't really worried about the Azteci. Because I just wanted the horns and shit.
I would say that you might as well if you're going to fucking bleed it out, because it's going to take you that amount of time to let it bleed anyway.
I mean, you can
If
still
that's
skin
what you're
something-
doing.
You can still skin something while it's being
You
bled out.
can. Okay, that's what you're doing. We can handle this over via Discord. That's no problem. I'll look into this more and we'll sort it out between now and then. This is more of a long-term problem in the first place. Okay, so that's what Kikatrix is doing. Others? Who's next?
I could grab my beer, go upstairs, and relay to everyone else. Gonna see if I can get another crack out of the book before we implement the forgery.
The forgery.
Okay. So you get yourself a beer and you go upstairs to settle in with the Tempest Tenebrae. What are you doing with it?
Starting off where I left off in the book, using the Eyes of the Runekeeper, or was that a arcane check? I forgot if it was just
No, at this point it's Eyes of the Runekeeper enables you to see the subtext within each story. What do you have so far?
I have Pursuit of Life, Bestride the Line, What Lies Ahead or Falls Behind, I Seeketh Proof, the Darkest Truth.
There's a last line, but it doesn't actually. I don't have it finished here. It is. I have here. I give thee pain, and accept thy boon, and afterwards there's a question mark, and then the word bah, and then 2 more words which are work on. So it ends. The last story reveals the words, "I give thee pain and accept thy boon."
And accept thy boon.
There's a song your truck got on.
So you have successfully, after flipping the pages back and forth in this heavy volume of children's stories, put together a series of words. I believe you've been writing these down as well, correct?
Yeah, and Logie continues to write them down and later on make more sense of it. Right now he's just making sure that he can have it in multiple forms.
You have, what you can tell is the short cantos held within the book as revealed by your eyes of the Rune Keeper. Flipping through the pages reveals no additional lines or letters that essentially ping in that same level of existence as these ones did. But as you write the last word of the incantation, the words that you have written upon your separate page flash once. Very, very gently, like you almost think you've imagined it. Who's got weird background going on right now?
Sorry, that's me.
Balls in your court, Logie.
Balls in your coat.
Just out of sheer curiosity with it, like the words that I've written on my own and it flashes in that moment, would I be able to roll for like Arcane to see? It's kind of like get it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hint or clue as to why.
Why they flashed?
Yeah, or to see if it was just imagination on his part.
Yeah, go ahead. You have not copied many scrolls or a lot of magic so far in your life. The Pact of the Warlock bestows its magics in different ways. However, you've done a good amount of reading, and you're to understand that there's a similar effect when a wizard copies a incantation successfully or correctly, that they experience something similar.
Okay.
Have you spoken any of these words out loud at any point?
No, I've been taking a crack at the book and just writing.
Fair. You, as you sit there and think about this and consider it, are confident that you have perhaps discovered a magical incantation.
Sorry, I'm writing that. I'm liable to keep forgetting. Would I
doubt
also?
that, actually.
I'm sorry.
I said I doubt that actually.
With the quiet moment that I do have, like that was pretty much from the book. Nothing really stuck out.
I'm not sure I follow.
Oh, from the book. I was just making sure that's all that Logie got from the book.
Yes.
Gotcha. With that quiet moment, I think like 15 minutes have passed reading this book.
Yep. You have the eyes of the Rune Keeper. Odd things like this have a tendency to jump out quickly.
Yeah. Logie takes a moment and figures he doesn't really know how to really get Levistus's attention. He's like scrunching up his face, almost like in his mind palace, like knocking on a door. Very tentatively. Like he's having a
trying to get to speak with Levistus.
Yeah. And as he's trying to do that, he's like having another sip of his beer.
As you finish a sip of your beer, nobody is watching you right now, but essentially your eyes roll up into the back of your head as the the door in your mind palace opens, and Levistus stands there before you. He also has a drink in hand, though this is it's a really odd glass, like super tall and narrow, but also like weirdly curved, like in a manner that seems unnatural, almost like a crazy bong or pipe. And he appears to be drinking like a vapor from it as he welcomes you in wordlessly with the hand. Closes the door behind you. It's a small sitting room that you enter into, like a little 10 by 10 room. There's a fire burning merrily in one corner. There is a very nice, like, smoking lounge style plush red chair, and sitting next to it is a little 3-leg stool that's about like 9-10 inches off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
He gestures towards the stool.
I nod and feeling Logie awkwardly sits in the chair, shuffles a bit, looks at the stool, figures out how to do it naturally, and just decides to just sit. Finally.
Levistus moves across and sits in the nice plush chair and crosses the leg and picks up what appears to be a gently smoking finger bone from an ashtray beside him, brings it to his lips and takes a deep exhalation or inhalation before exhaling a blue-black smoke into the air above the two of your head. He says, "Man, ask your questions, boy. I'm relaxing."
And Logie nods, and before I ask the question, for how did I want to put it? I don't know why you did it, or there could have been no reason at all, but still, thank you for, doing me a solid and getting me back up in for the fight yesterday. As for
He
the
just
question,
kind of shrugs.
yeah.
Will I get your soul when you die? It's other
Yeah.
things I'd like to know first.
For the question, the brand on Midian's arm. Again, I'm not sure if you're toying with me. Possible. But you seemed interested. It was intriguing. Things are getting interesting. Although, I don't like the idea that that brand on his arm is pretty much a beacon, and he's around all of us.
He grunts. He sips his vapor. Considers you for a moment. So, what are you actually asking me, boy? That was more of a meandering thought than a distinct question.
Logie blinks. I do that a lot, yeah.
Yes.
Do you know precisely what that brand is?
Yes. It's a mark. He is owned, for lack of a better word.
The origin of the brand? Like a, for lack of better terms, almost like religious cult. Again, I'm being paranoid at the moment.
No, you're not being paranoid at all. You're actually asking the right questions for once. It is a cabal, if you will. An old one. A very, very old one. Thought lost in the weirding, like many things on this God-forgotten continent, but apparently not quite so God-forgotten after all. That is from the cabal of the Sundered Circle. What I suspect is modernly referred to as the Santasam Consortium. Not nice people, Logie.
The Sundered. Now, I take it there's no easy way to get rid of said mark or bypass what the mark is capable of doing?
Easy. For you? Yes. For the drow? No.
I take it you imply the area of the mark no longer attached to his body?
See, Logie, this is why we made that deal. You're a thinker. I like that about you.
That is... I would like say that would be a last resort, but you're also implying that it's the only way, right?
I don't think I implied it was the only way, just the easiest way for you, which is what you asked me for, Logie. Chopping a man's arm off is not difficult. It's a matter of momentum and accuracy. Is it easy for him? No. Is it painful? Most certainly. Do I care about those things? I do not. You asked for easy. Chopping his arm off is easy. It's a matter of seconds.
In the hard way?
I suppose you kill the person who applied it. Or find the brand itself and destroy that, I suppose. He's smoking his finger bone now.
Like the
Did you say
implement?
smoking his finger bone?
I did, yes. He is smoking a skeletal finger bone as if it's a cigar, while drinking vapor out of a hand-blown glass. Quotes. And casually discussing how easy it would be to dismember Midian.
So we have cut
Three
the arm.
options, really. 4, I suppose. You could leave him in a ditch dead. That's the 4th one. You could cut off his arm. That's 3. Both, mind you, far easier than the last 2. You could locate the branding iron itself and either disenchant or destroy it, or you could kill the individual who applied said brand. Which, seeing as we, and he does the hand wave in the air as if to include both you and himself, haven't met this individual, it's hard to gauge that difficulty, but this is not your everyday magic, Sloggy. You know that, right?
Beginning to realize that, yes. Slow learner, although learning nonetheless. But
there is a curve.
Oh, I realize, yeah. First moments of docking, I'm sure it's quite enjoyable for you.
We do this thing called docking down here in hell. It's a good time, but not for everyone.
I was thinking the same thing.
Logi's laughing nervously for reasons unknown to him.
What the fuck?
I love this game.
I'm just saying, that dude's gotta love us in that puppeteer thing.
He's a literal demon lord, devil lord,
He had to, but he had to like the little puppeteer thing. You know what I mean? Like some part of him had to be like.
So he would be the kind of guy who would get off on that. To be fair. Did you come all the way down here just to ask me about your drow friend? He'll be dead in 2 weeks, Loki. What are you concerned about?
Mostly the beacon. I don't like
Fair.
Orn and him knowing where he is, essentially where we are then.
Well,
And-
that's a solid consideration, I will admit.
And along with that, if there's a mechanic for the brand, if Midian were to go off the beaten path of designed by Orn, there's disciplinary action and no further detail on that. And I'd prefer not to find out that to be a mortar assault.
Well, not like
That's
it'll
what it is.
be a what now?
A mortar assault.
A what?
A mortar.
Mortar assault? Can you type it? I'm not getting the words for some reason. I'm sorry. Anybody else get that, or was it just me?
I heard
No, I
mortar
was
assault,
also
like
confused.
they're launching mortars at him.
Mortar assault? Like Nukas?
Mortar assault?
Yeah. Like
Assault
launching
by-
mortars.
Like a magical mortar
lightning bolt.
assault? Okay. Okay. Levistus also
mortar?
didn't understand it. But as you explain it, he's like, oh, yes. Yeah, fair consideration, really. Like,
Again,
it's essentially a fantasy low jack.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh.
He counters your comment upon future technology of mortars with a quiet commentary upon GPS technology.
You're like, what's that? He's like, oh, you won't know about it for a few thousand millennia or so.
You'll find out when that happens.
We'll get there eventually.
Did I say that out loud?
Sorry, only in a monologue goes after a few 100,000 years.
I didn't really come all the way down here, or not down here, in here, wherever.
Well, in
Here
down
it is.
perspective, dear boy.
Along with the book, really. Orn's interest along of my interest now that I can actually start getting things out of it. Did you know about this? The incantation within this book that's apparently children's stories?
Well, why do you think I gave it to you? And sent you here? You think it was accidental, Logie? You think
In the beginning, I was just reading
Devil Prince
children's
of Hell
stories.
does things accidentally?
Or amusement. I'm just reading children's books and just
that's
thinking
a fair
it's
point,
important.
I suppose. No, have you said it yet? Have you used it? Or you just read the fucking thing? Logie, it's not a book, for Christ's sakes. What have you been doing with it?
Writing down the incantation. I'm
It's-
under the impression that I may not have this book at all times. I wrote it down and will commit it to memory.
Ah, yes, the secret activation phrase for a highly sought-after magical item. We should definitely write this down and make copies of it. Yes, yes. Objective security and all that.
You're interested in this magic item?
Logie, I gave you the book and put you on a ship specifically to come here with it. Yes, I'm
Why?
interested in the bloody book, boy. Go back home, speak the incantation, and go.
Like, speak it at any point in time?
He sighs and looks down and looks up and takes a sip of his vapor and just like flips his hand, and all of a sudden you have left the drawing room and you are sitting in your bed drinking your beer.
Fair.
You just got kicked out of hell.
Yeah.
I mean, alive.
He just Constantined you.
Yeah, but you annoyed a hell god so much, he just made you leave.
That would be like more dissatisfied than annoyed. Like, he's just like,
Just
Jesus
quietly
Christ.
disappointed. Like, I thought you were intelligent, Logie. You're killing me, man. I gotta
I had
pour
a
little
moment
whiskey up.
where
Go
Mitch was,
ahead.
talking about his, or not Mitch, I'm sorry, Tom was talking about how he's gonna butcher all of these things, and my brain was looking at the clock like, I'm not even needed here anymore, I don't think. But then Logie started it on his thing, and I was like, I want to listen to this.
So, do you speak the incantation?
Yeah, Logie's just
Do it.
kind of like not really connecting the dots, and he's, well, alright.
You say so.
Do it.
Very, very not sure of like what he's doing. That and as character, I'm tired. My brain cells are gone.
Cool.
So Logie reads, "Pursuit of life, bestride the line, what lies ahead or falls behind. I seeketh proof, the darkest truth. I give thee pain, accept thy boon."
Roll me an intelligence saving throw.
Oh.
Logie dying today. Where is... Oh, saving throw. Okay. See.
Roll a 1d6.
Is it /R?
Yes. /R space 1d6. You take 4 points of psychic damage as you recall that fingernail feeling scraping across your brain recently.
Yeah.
Imagine that fingernail suddenly fucking jabbed into your fucking brain. That's what you feel as the words coming out of your mouth feel almost oily. And in the core of your being, you are suddenly sure that even though the words were said correctly, the intent behind the spell was not correct. And whatever this incantation was, it has failed. You can try again tomorrow.
Okay. No, I'm really imagining like the whole like hook fingernail like actually jabbing itself.
Yeah.
into
You
my
got
brain.
tetanus. You got tetanus now, motherfucker.
Oh.
You got tetanus.
Hey, welcome to the world of shit we didn't want.
Fair enough.
Logie's just trying to make sense of it.
That's fair. But anything else, Logie, before I move on?
And again, if I'm quiet, still, I'm assuming he's still having quiet moments and still like having a what the fuck moment.
Yes, except for the fact that 2 hours have passed
Gotcha.
between you uttering the incantation and coming back to yourself in
Gotcha.
pain.
If there is time left, Logie's still like committing it to memory and possibly, again, if time permitting, in that scenario, to have at least another copy.
The incantation?
Yeah. So right down behind.
You know, I just had a thought, and this is kind of apropos of this. And this is purely conjectural. Just roll with me on this for a minute. If you have the eyes of the Runekeeper, and this enables you as an individual to read any writing, does that by definition transfer? Right, if you were to just write that in complete fucking gibberish, in like this weird conglomeration of alphabets that you happen to know, if you were to write all of that with intent, does it count as writing?
Yes.
Vis-a-vis, are you able to discern what you have written as a result of having the eyes of the Runekeeper, wherein no one else would look at this as intelligible handwriting, even if they were to speak the relevant languages? Is my point coming across? Is anybody else getting this?
I completely understand what you're saying.
Yes, I feel like if he were to kind of write, I wouldn't even want to say gibberish, but if it's just kind of like his own language, or like his own kind of
like even if he used like
code,
some
I feel
form
like he
of
would
binary,
have to
right?
use,
Like,
yeah, but he would have to use some time to come up with it.
to work out like an intentional, but once he did,
What?
as long as he
Then he knows it.
maintained the eyes of the Runekeeper, he alone would be able to discern this.
But in that regard,
I would
then
agree with that.
So like he would have to write something completely like he would have no idea. He's just writing like kind of like how like evangelical speakers speak in tongues, like a literal form of that, right?
Okay. Yep.
So like
almost
Yeah,
like
I
scribbles.
also-
so like he wouldn't necessarily
Thinking of it
understand
as,
it
like, a
if he
trance,
wasn't
like,
using
state.
the eyes of the rune keeper. He would be like, I have no idea what I wrote. But then if he
So
turned
do
them
you
on,
think if he like turned them off, like quote unquote, wrote it as just like a bunch of fucking scratch and scribbles and shit with the internal intent?
I don't know. That needs to go on a forum somewhere.
I kind of think that you would need to use a recognizable alphabet in some way, shape, or form. But the problem there is that like if you are able to read all writing, do you necessarily even notice what alphabet they're in, or do you just like osmosify that shit?
Yeah, like it just appears in your brain.
Right.
Yeah,
Or at least,
that's a
like,
deep
if
question.
possible, it would like take time to get kind of used to it, since you're like Logie would be doing it himself, and
I think
almost
it's
intensely, unintentionally.
fair to assume that you could memorize this
Or,
one way or another.
here's a
and
better
I am
question.
definitely going to follow up on Reddit on this.
Wait, here's a better question. What if, like, I had some intent as Midian and I wrote something down in complete gibberish, but I meant it to mean this and then handed him the note? Like, could he understand what I wrote?
That again, I
don't
think it
know.
goes back to
Because,
I
like,
think it goes back. To,
that's a
like,
handy
having
mechanic
your
if you're,
own
like-
established language. Otherwise, it's just fucking gibberish.
I do think that it's the difference between having a codified language and gibberish.
But what
Yeah.
do the words say, though? Like, in the actual ability itself?
It literally says you can read all writing, period. Full
That's-
stop.
And if you wrote it, then you should be able to read it, right?
If it was written in an intelligent and established alphabet, I feel like you could. So if you invented your own alphabet,
Which could
Then-
be gibberish to everybody else.
right?
Yeah, anyone else that looked at it would see absolute fucking gibberish.
So
but if
like
it's his
I think
own language,
mechanically doable, but you have to spend the time to essentially like make your own
Yeah.
fucking alphabet.
I mean,
Like,
realistically,
codify it.
realistically, you wouldn't need to spend a lot of
Yeah.
time. You could just be like, A means this squiggle and B means that squiggle, and you could just, and as long as it's been written down and translated, it would exist, correct?
Yeah,
true.
I feel like Alice in the Wonderland, and we have fallen down a rabbit hole right now.
Yeah, no.
Like, what in the fuck?
I'm gonna have to Reddit the fuck out of this.
Yeah,
This is
I
gonna be
bet
so-
this question has come up before. It's
Mm.
this world is
Wouldn't
too unoriginal to not have.
You would be surprised how many fucking DMs actually overlook Eyes of the Runekeeper.
I'm sure I would, but you'd probably be surprised to know how many of them actually fucking do look at it.
That's
Would it
true.
be safe to say that Logie gets like some sort of idea to do that, but realizes that would take a minute or two?
like
like,
to
I already
establish
taken my
that
time
kind of
with
thing?
it. Huh?
Yes, I think with Logie's intelligence, not that save obviously, but like he's got like a 16 intelligence, right? Like that's fucking smart kid. I
Yeah,
think
but-
given that in his innate paranoia, he would be able to figure these things out casually and determine that that was something he would like to do.
Levis is just like, brownie points for once.
I don't know.
Yeah,
he might have
something
just
he
evened out
thinks
after he
about
kicked you out of his fucking
considers
sitting
and
room.
Just thinks about the amount of time that might potentially take, and is just like, well. Or, I mean, if we could.
I mean, Tolkien didn't write Elvish in a fucking day.
Yeah, well, I am also just remembering that now that we've had this thought and are kind of on this line of discussion, he did just spend 3 fucking months sitting on a boat. And would have had a good amount of time to perhaps come up with things like his own written language.
He wouldn't have had
Like-
a necessity to do so.
True. So, did he not have the book beforehand?
He did, but he didn't have any of this information. It was just a
he
book
just
of
found out
stories,
about the
which
reading all
as
languages?
everybody else, he just got Eyes of the Runekeeper level 2.
Mm.
So he's looking back at this.
I'm sorry, I missed that little part.
Oh, did you find it, Mitch?
No, that's just something else. Ignore that.
Okay.
It is cool though.
No, part of the OSE thing is I'm going to make you guys start drawing maps.
Oh.
I'm very curious to see where your research on this topic leads you.
Yeah, I am too, actually. This is a super fun and interesting question. And totally push things off to the side there. Logie, you can memorize that. You can write it down in some kind of shorthand for now, and we can return to it later if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I feel like I take enough time.
Okay. I mean, I don't know necessarily if anybody has anything else to do. I know Midian wants to copy the book, but you kind of went away with the book, which is fair. No problem here with me.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Midian,
Yes,
is there
what's
anything
Midian
you
doing?
wanted to do in the time?
I have nothing I need to do.
I kind of got that impression. It's also about 11 o'clock, so I feel like it's a good place to
Yes.
pull it up.
Maybe you can just sleep if he's got any damage or anything you need to heal.
I don't.
I think that's really just you. Okay, so next session will begin day 3. We're on day 2 now. It was noon. Elected to stay here and do some other stuff, some housekeeping as people are ferried over, etc., etc. I'll describe how that turns out the next time we get together. And we'll go to the
We're thinking
legates.
Wednesday.
Yes, to the legate.
The legate. Yeah, Wednesday 8:30. We can play a little later on that one.
Okay, should I shut the
They'll
recording?
really like if we're able to come in with a direct plan on going there. It's easier. So have an idea of who you want to go with you. If you want to take any of the NPCs,
Yeah,
things like that.
We can totally go over this in Discord. It's totally.
Yep, it's all Discord shit. I feel like the path is relatively clear cut, unless you guys want to do some deviations or some other shit there.
Unless I want to light something on fire on the way, you know.
Fair enough. No problem.
Yeah.
So more of a role play kind of side thing episode this time.
Okay, I kill the recording. Say goodbye.
You get it recording. Very good.
Bye bye.
Bye for now.
Bye bye.